What if Sirius Black had actually betrayed the Potters? There's a moment in the Harry Potter story that nobody questions. It's buried so deep in the books and movies that most people just accept it as fact. Sirius Black was innocent. He was the loyal friend. The one who took the fall for Peter Pettigrew's betrayal. The one who spent 12 years in Azkaban for a crime he never committed. But what if that was the greatest cover-up in wizarding history? What if Sirius Black wasn't framed? What if he wasn't innocent? What if the man who spent 12 years in Azkaban actually deserved every single minute of it? Think about it. Sirius Black was a brilliant wizard from the Black family, one of the oldest and darkest pureblood lines in existence. His family were Death Eaters. His cousin Bellatrix Lestrange was Voldemort's most loyal servant. His own mother disowned him for being too much like the rest of the family. But blood has a way of telling the truth eventually. Sirius ran away from home at 16. He lived with James Potter's family. He became a rebel, a rule breaker, someone who openly rejected everything his family stood for. But here's the thing about rebels. Sometimes they're not actually rebelling against their family. Sometimes they're just hiding inside a different mask. And sometimes a rebel runs away not because he hates his family, but because he needs to get close to the enemy. The Potters were the heart of the light side. If Sirius wanted to destroy them, he couldn't do it from a Death Eater mansion. He had to be inside their home. He had to be their best friend. He had to be the one person they would never suspect. Let's look at the facts. James and Lily Potter knew they were in danger. Voldemort was hunting them. They needed a secret keeper, someone who would protect their location with the Fidelius charm. The charm is unbreakable. The secret can only be given voluntarily. So the choice of secret keeper was the most important decision they would ever make. According to the official story, James wanted Sirius. Sirius was his best friend, his brother in everything but blood. But Sirius suggested they use Peter Pettigrew instead. He said nobody would suspect Peter, that it was the perfect misdirection. And James trusted Sirius completely, so he agreed. But what if that wasn't a clever strategy? What if it was the first step in a plan that Sirius had been building for years? Sirius knew that Voldemort was rising. He knew that the Dark Lord was recruiting from the old pureblood families, the same families that Sirius himself came from. And Sirius knew that if Voldemort won, the Blacks would be rewarded. They would be elevated. They would finally get the power they had been craving for generations. Sirius ran away from home, but maybe he never really left. Maybe he was playing the long game from the very beginning. The Potters trusted Sirius completely. They told him everything. They let him into their home. They made him godfather to their son. And all the while, Sirius was feeding information to Voldemort. Not directly, of course. That would be too obvious. But through channels, through family connections, through people who would never be traced back to him. Think about how easy it was for Sirius to move between worlds. He could laugh with James at the dinner table, then walk 10 steps and talk to a house elf who would carry a message straight to Bellatrix. He could hug Lily goodbye, then slip a note into an owl's leg that would reach the darkest corners of Nocturne Alley by morning. Sirius was the perfect spy because he was never suspected. He was the Black heir who hated his family. Who would ever question him? When Voldemort decided to target the Potters, Sirius saw his opportunity. He convinced James to use the Fidelius charm. He convinced James to make Peter the secret keeper. And then he convinced Peter to tell Voldemort the secret. Peter didn't betray the Potters because he was a coward. Peter betrayed them because Sirius told him to. And Peter, who had always been the weakest of the group, the one who followed orders instead of giving them, did exactly what he was told. When Voldemort showed up at Godric's Hollow, Sirius was waiting for the news. He knew what was coming. He knew that James and Lily would die. He knew that Harry would become an orphan. And he knew that with the Potters gone, he would be the most powerful marauder left standing. But something went wrong. Voldemort didn't just kill James and Lily. He tried to kill Harry too, and the curse rebounded. Voldemort was destroyed, and suddenly, Sirius's perfect plan fell apart. This is the part that people don't think about. Sirius didn't just lose his master that night. He lost his future. He was supposed to be Voldemort's right hand, the man who delivered the Potters to the Dark Lord. Instead, he became a fugitive with no one to report to, no one to reward him, no one to protect him if the truth ever came out. He had to think fast. He had to build a new story before anyone else built one for him. With Voldemort gone, Sirius needed a new story. He needed to disappear. He needed to make everyone believe that he was innocent, that he was the victim, that Peter was the real traitor. So he found Peter in the street. He confronted him. And when Peter shouted to the whole street that Sirius had betrayed the Potters, Sirius didn't deny it. He laughed. He let everyone believe that Peter was telling the truth, because deep down, he knew that Peter was. Peter escaped into the sewer, leaving his finger behind. Sirius was arrested without a trial, and he spent 12 years in Azkaban, letting everyone believe that he was the innocent one, that Peter was the real villain. But here's the question that nobody asks. If Sirius was truly innocent, why did he never try to clear his name? He was a brilliant wizard. He could have escaped from Azkaban at any time. He could have proven that Peter was alive. He could have brought the truth to light. Instead, he waited. 12 years, and when he finally escaped, it wasn't to clear his name. It was to find Peter, not to bring him to justice, but to silence him forever. Think about Sirius's behavior when he finally meets Harry. He's charming. He's funny. He's the cool uncle that every kid wishes they had. He buys Harry a firebolt, the most expensive broom in the world. He offers Harry a home. He becomes everything that Harry never had. But look closer. Sirius never actually helps Harry defeat Voldemort. He never gives him useful information about the Death Eaters. He never reveals any of the secrets that someone in his position should know. Instead, he treats Harry like a son. He fills the void that James left. He becomes the father figure that Harry always wanted. Why? Because Sirius knows that as long as Harry trusts him, as long as Harry loves him, the truth will never come out. Harry is the key to Sirius's freedom. Not from Azkaban, but from the guilt that has been eating him alive for 12 years. And Harry, desperate for a family, for any connection to his parents, falls for it completely. He never asks the hard questions. He never wonders why Sirius, who spent 12 years in hell, never once tried to prove Peter was alive. He never wonders why Sirius, who knew the dark arts better than almost anyone, never shared a single useful piece of Death Eater intelligence. He never wonders why Sirius suggested Peter as secret keeper in the first place. Because Harry doesn't want to know. He wants a father, and Sirius gives him exactly that. When Sirius dies at the Ministry of Magic, Harry is devastated. He loses the only family he has left. But think about what Sirius's death actually accomplishes. It takes the truth with him. Because Sirius was the only person who knew the full story. Not even Peter knew everything. Sirius carried the complete truth to his grave. And Harry, the boy who trusted Sirius completely, never questioned him. He never asked why Sirius suggested Peter as secret keeper. He never asked why Sirius waited 12 years to escape. He never asked why Sirius never tried to clear his name. Because he didn't want to know the answer. So here's what really happened. Sirius Black was never innocent. He was never the loyal friend who took the fall for someone else. He was a Black, through and through. He was a brilliant manipulator who played every side of the war and came out looking like a hero. He betrayed James and Lily, not because Voldemort forced him to, but because he wanted to. He wanted the power that came with being on the winning side. He wanted the respect that his family always denied him. He wanted to prove that he was worthy of the Black name. And when his plan failed, he built a new plan. He became the grieving godfather, the tragic hero, the innocent man who lost everything. He played the role so perfectly that even Harry, the boy whose parents he killed, loved him. The tragedy of Sirius Black isn't that he was framed. The tragedy is that he got away with it. He died loved, mourned, and remembered as a hero. While Peter Pettigrew, the actual coward who followed orders, is remembered as the worst traitor in wizarding history. But here's the darkest part. Sirius didn't just get away with it. He got to die as a hero. He got to fall through that veil, knowing that Harry would spend the rest of his life remembering him as the brave godfather who fought for the light. He didn't have to face a trial. He didn't have to watch Harry's face crumble when the truth came out. He took the easy way out, and he took the secret with him. But here's the thing about secrets. They have a way of coming out. And maybe, somewhere in the Ministry archives, there's a record that nobody ever found. Maybe there's a letter, a memory, a confession that Sirius left behind. Maybe the truth about the Potter's betrayal isn't buried as deep as everyone thinks. Because if Sirius Black really was the traitor, then the entire war against Voldemort was built on a lie. Every battle, every sacrifice, every life lost, All of it was based on the assumption that an innocent man died for a crime he didn't commit. But he didn't die innocent. He died guilty. And the wizarding world never knew. Subscribe to see what happens when the hero was really the villain.